Hello, everybody, and welcome to Floor Planner, your 2D, 3D export settings, lights, cameras, and presentation webinar. Appreciate you all being here. If you could go ahead and send me back a message in the Zoom chat just to confirm that you can hear me, see me, see my screen, make sure we're good to go. Sure would appreciate it. Excellent. Thank you very much. We are recording this session. Yay. Because there are so many of you. This is a very, very well attended session. We have, oh my heavens, 86 registrants. You are all from multiple locations around the world. As you know, of course, Floor Planner is worldwide, and we have over 30 million registered users of Floor Planner. So again, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And for those of you that are watching this recording later, we are recording this on this day, January 31st, 2024. For those of you that are, I've already had the question, are we recording the session? Obviously we are. If you need access to that recording, we are going to see if we can go ahead and post this on our Floor Planner channel on YouTube. It might take a little while to get that up and running. So if you want something a little faster, you can go ahead and drop me an email. Just communicate to me that you're requesting a link to the recording, and you can just send that to my email at B-O-B, at floorplanner.com. Pretty easy. So that being said, we have a lot of information to cover today. Typically in my live webinars, there's a lot of background information that we cover about Floor Planner. That's already been covered. That's available to you in our intro webinar and also in our advanced tools webinar. So we're going on the assumption that you kind of already have some feel for Floor Planner. Obviously, you're asking for more advanced information to make better renderings and imagery. So we're gonna have fun with this webinar. Less PowerPoint presentation and certainly much more live presentation. And then if I can speed along quickly enough, I'd love to open up for some Q&A at the very end. We're gonna have to feed that through the chat. I am a solo presenter, so sorry to say there's no sidecar next to me, somebody actually reading the chats for me. So I'll get distracted. So we're gonna try to hold the chat part of this until the very end. There's a lot of diversity as to whom you are all joining me today, not only from around the world, but by your different subscription levels inside Floor Planner. So I'm going to try to address this to everybody at the same time. We've got everybody in here from the basic level inside Floor Planner. We're coming on to check out what Floor Planner is all about as a free offering with some limitations to it. It's a basic account. And then there's the single one-person users to the account that would be like plus or pro versions of the subscription. Pro, certainly, if you're utilizing Floor Planner for professional purposes and you're a single one-person user. If you're multiple users on the account, you're talking about being a Teams business or enterprise accounts. Teams accounts go up to 10 users on the account. Business accounts, excuse me, go up to 100 users on the account, and enterprise accounts are unlimited users on the account. And I will give a special shout out to many of the enterprise accounts that have joined me today. So welcome. Again, there's a lot of diversity as to who you all are, different subscription levels that you are. So I may be making some cross comments along the way so you get a reference as to who you are in that game. We're going to be working with a project today that'll be starting as an SD level project, which is the first level of paid for projects. Those of you that are basic account holders out there, subscriptions with Floor Planner, are familiar with working with SD Lite, limited but free projects for your experimentation as you learn about Floor Planner. Make your decision as to which other paid for subscription level you're looking for. Enough of that for right now. So let's roll in some basic PowerPoint and get this out of the way. In case you didn't know, yes, my name is Bob. Yay. I'm based here in the United States in a little small coastal town, Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. So I am East Coast, New York time zone, if that's relatable to you all. Even though I'm here in the United States, more of a training support, Floor Planner is a European-based platform. It's out of the Netherlands. It's out of Rotterdam specifically. Being kind of a Dutch company that we are, let's just say we're not real big on job titles. So I'm here for customer success. I'm here to support you all, get you all comfortable as you're utilizing Floor Planner and helping you to advance as you apply Floor Planner to your individual industries, which again, there's a lot of diversity as to whom you all are as users of Floor Planner. Yes, there are over 30 million registered users of Floor Planner around the world. Pretty awesome. I'm slowly getting to know many of you, slowly, which is awesome. There's a lot of diversity inside Floor Planner. We're not just building 3D models in Floor Planner and then taking the two-dimensional and three-dimensional images. There's the diversity even beyond, going into 3D tours for presentations, virtual reality goggles, interactive experiences, floor scanner app to gather the as-built information with ease and build a 3D model instantaneously. There's our style boards for mood board presentations. Obviously, we're never going to be able to cover all of that today. We do cover that piecemeal in our other webinars, in the intro and also in the advanced tools webinar. Just know that there is so much diversity out there inside Floor Planner. There's additional webinars. They're free. You can register for them anytime. So come on back as many times as you'd like to. Just re-register for them accordingly, as you obviously did for today's webinar, the intro webinar, the every other week 2-day 3D rendering exports, and the advanced tools webinar talking about how to create more elaborate architectures utilizing Floor Planner for sure. I want to just mention this for a second for all of you, that there are different project levels. It doesn't matter what subscription level you are, what your account is with Floor Planner, but always know that the project we're creating has to have some identity as to what project level it's working on. As I mentioned, basic free accounts and the plus accounts have the ability to be working with this offering of a free project, which has its limitations, as I mentioned, just to learn about Floor Planner, which is great. And then anybody that's a pro account subscription, pro up through enterprise accounts, are starting your projects at least as the SD level project. Then projects can be elevated SD, HD, 4K, 8K. The only difference between the SD, HD, 4K, 8K is the pixel count, it's the resolution of the final image that you're creating. They're all equally photorealistic. They're all utilizing our Blender rendering engine, which we're going to showcase today. And they're stunning. Gorgeous images, but think about the pixel count, the purpose of your image that you're actually sharing with others. SD is great for construction and your own studies that you're working on. Presentation to your clients, we've definitely determined, with the assistance of many of the top 100 retailers here in the US, that HD level is preferred because of the pixel count. Make a better quality image for your clients. Wow, impress, actual production that you're putting out there. So HD for client presentations, absolutely. 4K, 8K for multitudes of reasons. You could be presenting on a 70-inch monitor and you want to zoom in on details and you don't want it to look pixelated. 4K, absolutely a higher resolution, better pixel count. Marketing materials, when you're actually doing publications, portfolios, etc., or just the absolute best image, 8K is available. You can create a project starting at any of these levels, and during the lifespan of that project, you can choose to go ahead and upgrade the project. So you don't have to start at the highest level. You can start at a lower level and just progress saying, oh, it's such a great project. I really want to elevate it later down the road. I want to emphasize this because I'm going to be working with the SD level project, which is paid for. And so there's a feature in there that's very unique. The SD lights can only build one floor of a multi-story project per project, and they can only build one design per any one project. That's going to be really important as we do this presentation because the SD and higher, SD, HD, 4K, 8K, has the ability to build a 7-story, multi-story project per project. And you can build, I think more importantly, multiple designs. You can build up to 10 different designs per every floor of an SD level up through 8K project. That's great for multiple presentations to your client, a single room or multiple rooms, changing the furniture selections, changing the layout, changing the materials, changing the finishes, etc. But it comes in also very beneficial and handy when you're making camera views that we're working on for today. And there's some distortion you might want to make in your structure, your walls, to get your camera just right. But you don't want to distort your project or corrupt your original design. So making a duplicate of it as a multiple design inside the same project, not just for the client presentation, but actually to make changes in the physical structure for those camera views, which is what we'll be working on today. SD lights do not have the ability to do so. If you are a basic account holder out there or a plus account holder and you have an SD light project, you do have the option in there to do a kind of pay as you go. You can actually buy like 5 credits as a minimum purchase, and you can truly elevate a project if you wanted to work into everything we're talking about today. So it is available to you. Well, this is it. This is what we're working towards. Yeah, beautiful renderings. I made this. I did this project, put it together for a sample example for a project I was working on down in Florida with a team of designers down there. This project is not as complicated as it looks. It's beautiful, I think, but it was easy for me to create. It's a Florida project. There was a Mandarin Oriental residences down there. I got the background floor plan from the website, traced it, traced the walls, and put the furniture in there and placed my camera view and did a great rendering. This is the quality we're getting out with the Blender rendering inside Floor Planner. Everybody looks at this, it must take so long to do this. This took me about a half a day. There's actually more of this project that you can't see on this image. But the thing that took me the most time to create this image was not technicality of the rendering tool. It was about the selections and the design decisions that had to be made along the way. Which piece of furniture, which pillow, which color, which accessory do you want to put on the shelves? Yeah, that's kind of slowed me down. But the actual production inside Floor Planner and the ease and speed is awesome. We know that our renderings are coming back as fast as 20 seconds inside Floor Planner. When I work with other softwares that are not Floor Planner, my renderings, I love other softwares also, but those renderings can take a day and a half to 2 days to make one beautiful rendering. I'd rather make the same quality as we do inside Floor Planner to get these back and try multiple renderings until I get the image just the way I want it, because you can tweak a little light level here and there and just make it a little bit better, which we'll be talking about today. But just know this is the end result, certainly, that we are working towards, and you have all the abilities to do this on your side also, not a problem. 3D tours, we're talking a little bit about presentation also today. So let's just mention 3D tours. We're making still images today, camera views, setting up the interior shots, sending them out to the cloud, getting nice renderings as JPEG images. We're going to talk about the 2-dimensional images we're going to be creating. But there's also a 3D tour option inside Floor Planner that if you're an enterprise account, let's make sure that your company is actually giving you permissions to do so. This is an additional 5 credits on top for building your project. Some of your enterprise accounts out there, this is actually much lesser than 5 credits, depends on your account level. But for the standard pro accounts out there, yeah, it's an add-on to a specific project. Maybe you created one room or multiple rooms on a single floor, and you're like going, I want to do a 3D tour. What is a 3D tour? You're going to take that model, one room or multiple rooms, and the multiple camera views that you associated with it, and you're going to send it out to the cloud, as we do with our JPEG and PNG images. But this time, you're going to get back a hyperlink instead of a finished rendered production. These hyperlinks have no weight to them. You can send them to your client or intended viewer through a text message, through an email. You can embed them into Microsoft Word documents. You can embed them into PowerPoint presentations, as I did here. And when that link gets to your client or intended viewer, they can open it up on any device. It could be on their phone, which I really prefer because it's really cool on your phone, iPad, computer, doesn't matter, as long as they're connected to the internet. Because what's going to happen is they're going to go to the link, they're going to go into the internet, they're going to go into the cloud, they're going to go into your project, and they're going to be inside your model so they can look around without you. So they're going to go ahead and take a peek all the way around the model. That's great. It's also not a cartoon that they're looking around inside. They are actually looking in real-time render. So it's a really beautiful experience. You're not waiting for it to render. It's actually already rendered as you're looking around inside the space. Being an architect myself, I would prefer to show my projects the way I would like you to see them, the best views, etc. So the camera views that you created will also transfer with that link. So the client can go to the specific dedicated camera views the way you wanted to show the property. They can see those also. They can't change anything. So your client or viewer cannot move your items around. They're just looking around and getting a better understanding of your model. Very nice way to share an elaborate presentation to your client. These links also have the ability to have a play button on there. So you get the video. Everybody wants a video walkthrough of your property directed by you based on the camera views that you created and the order that you placed them. So you're telling the story. It may be the story from your foyer to your living room to the dining room, all your still images in a story order. Yet Floor Planner will make all the animation for you between all of those still images. So when they hit play, no hands, and the client can just watch an actual video 3D tour. Also, these links do open in virtual reality goggles, Meta 2, Meta 3, etc. So you can have that full virtual reality immersion experience inside there also. I have at least, let's see if I got a link up here somewhere. There we go. It's just that email address of the, I mean, it's not email, the website, IRA, yeah, excuse me. It is just the website address. So if I just go ahead and click on this because it's embedded in a PowerPoint presentation, we'll actually hop out of here and go into need data. Oh, stubborn, isn't it? There we go. Sorry. I'm working on a PC right now, so I'm doing a mouse and keyboard. I'm actually inside this space right now. I'm in the cloud. I'm actually in this particular project, and I can left click and I can start looking around inside the space. Of course, if this was on my phone, I could go ahead and use my finger, and twirl around inside the space. Real-time render. If I want to teleport myself across the room, since I am using a mouse and keyboard, I can just left click and just teleport myself across the way, take myself out on the balcony, real-time render experience, cruise around, go back inside my space, check out the kitchen. Again, 3D model sent out as a 3D tour all the way down to the foyer and turning around. The real-time render experience is absolutely awesome. This is even a different rendering tool inside Floor Planner. This is not the Blender rendering engine. I like the still images that we're going to create today even better as still images, but this as a 3D model interactive experience to be engaged with is really stunning. And I'll give you some insider information that, of course, this is January 31st today. We are having a whole new rollout for 2024. And part of that rollout and our roadmap for advances is there is going to be a link to change the rendering engine for the 3D tours, which is going to come around to working with the Unreal rendering engine. So they're going to get even better. So really, really cool. Pull down menu up here. Let's stop that video. There we go. Okay. Pull down menu up here with your camera views. Of course, you could name your camera views accordingly, which we'll show you today. I could say living room, dining room, etc. So it'd be easier for your client to know what view they're going to. Like, I don't even know myself. So camera 5, whatever it may be. There's camera 5. If you hit the play button up there, this is the sequence based on the camera views you created and doing the tour of actually walking through the property, just hitting it as a play button. And of course, these links, as I mentioned, will open up in virtual reality goggles. So we'll stop that for right now and close out that little demonstration. Just want to make sure you understood what 3D tours are. It is an add-on to a project. It's like an a la carte add-on. There's additional credits. Cool thing is that once it's added onto a specific project, you might want to tell the story differently. So if you change the camera views and change the order and send it out to the cloud again, that same project, you're going to get back a different hyperlink and you will have a different story. You can do as many as you want to. So it is unlimited. Pretty awesome. Very fun. So let's get started. I said I wanted to keep the PowerPoint down to a minimum for today. So I've already created a project. So again, this is not an intro webinar. This is really talking about just the camera views. So let's actually open up my little demo project I created out here. And if you left click on any particular project, you'll gain the left-hand sidebar telling you all about it, which is the open button over here to open your project, or double clicking on the project itself, of course, will also open the project. But in case you never noticed, when you select a project, you get all this additional information here on the left-hand side, starting with something like the edit and upgrade button at the top about this particular project. Before we open it, this is where you could actually change a project level to elevate it. You could say, I've named the project incorrectly. I want to rename it for some reason. You can make these modifications to this information and hit the update project button, and it will be changed and modified out in the cloud. Always make sure, we're communicating with the cloud. We are a web-based platform, so always make sure you update your information. Very, very important. Also over here on the left-hand sidebar, I just want to bring to your attention, there's also a tab in here for presentation. Seems to be missed along the way. We've had it out there for a long time. As a presentation tab, it puts together a slideshow for you. You can have a cover page in there, and you can extract the images that you've created, which we're going to be doing today, from that project. So if you had a two-dimensional floor plan you wanted to put into a composition of a slideshow and then a specific rendering or a specific image of a specific object, 3D furniture piece that's in there, you can start composing this presentation, much like you would do a PowerPoint presentation, but it's going to be more of a PDF slideshow when it's all done. Again, this has existed for quite some time inside Floor Planner. This is being modified and improved for 2024. I've seen some of the concept on this recently. It's coming together under development right now. So keep your eyes open for modifications to this. This will be greatly improved as we go forward. If you hit the more button down there at the bottom, you have the additional information inside here, including the ability to delete a project. I'm not sure why you'd want to, but you could. I probably wouldn't. You don't have a storage capacity issue in Floor Planner, so you're doing pretty good. Okay, enough about that. Let's go ahead and actually open the project. I'm going to go ahead and double click it. And this will be our demonstration for today. As I said, I created it as an SD level project. Looking down at a plan view of it at the moment with the furnishings in there. I did make multiple designs in this project because it is an SD level project. So if you want to see the multiple designs that we created for this project, upper left-hand corner, we're in the project. Obviously, you can only have one project open at a time. There's the name of it. Upper left-hand corner, just hit the project tab, which is about this project. And you'll start seeing the multiple designs. As you can see, I have created 6 designs on this one floor of this project. So you can do up to 10 different designs. And we'll make an extra one today for sure. So if you want to see which designs, what's available to you, just hit the Designs tab. And you'll see that you get preview images of, I have 6 designs in here for a multitude of reasons. So being a paid for project as an SD level or higher, already I think you can see there's a value and reason for it and such that you just don't have as an SD Lite. I'm going to start with the structural shell up here and take a peek. How do we build this project? I'm going to type my B key on my keyboard, B as in background, to turn my background on for a moment. And you can see that, yeah, it was I took it off the website. The residence is at Mandarin Oriental down in Boca Raton, Florida. I, as we know in our intro webinar, you can insert an image, a JPEG, PNG, or PDF, scale it to real world scale inside Floor Planner, and then just drop your furniture right on top of there and do your space planning exercise. It's all 1-to-1, 1 foot equals 1 foot, and you can be done with your two-dimensional document. Great. Or, take advantage of the fact that you can see where the walls are, which I did, and just trace out the walls. It's a very nice, quick way to create your background. Don't have to trace a background, but obviously I find great value in it. I'm going to type my B key to turn off that background as a shortcut hotkey, just so we can look at the project that we've created. So this area has different zones in it, or different rooms. The rooms and areas don't know what they are until you tell them what they are. So something like this room out here that says balcony. That's one of those room types being assigned to that room. So it's a closed in area of walls, of course. And if I left click on that balcony, you'll see the information on the left-hand side, including the room type button. If you do this with anything you've created and you've never identified before, you will see, hey, room type unnamed. Yes, there's a selection in here. If I go ahead and select that tab, I'm working with the category of a house. There's also offices, schools, hospitality, etc. So I'll stay with house. And in a house, there's living rooms, kitchens, nurseries, bathrooms, etc. And we can identify what that space is. I did go ahead and identify it as a balcony, which is also telling me my square footage calculation down there. It's very nice. These color codes over here are the default set inside Floor Planner. So by identifying a room type, it's not just giving you a nice little label that you can place inside there, but it's also giving you a color blocked system, because I've also identified down here living room as a different area identified as living room over here on the left-hand side as a room type. And notice, oh, how did I get foyer down there if living room is kind of connected to it? Isn't that interesting? Because here's another room type. We did that purposely. There's an extra little wall inside there that you can't see. So if you ever need to divide out your areas, just give yourself an extra wall from corner to corner over here, and just make sure you go to the settings of that wall and make that wall 0 thickness. If you make it 0 thickness, you can't see it. So it's invisible. That way I was able to subdivide these areas to make different room types. And once the room types are defined, as I said, the color blocking system that's over here, if you hit this blue on blue tab in the upper right-hand corner for your 2D view, you will see the color blocks actually assigned to them. This may be important to you as a real estate professional or as an interior designer in your preliminary conceptual design setup of your contract or agreements with your client as to which areas you're going to be working in. So a color block presentation is pretty cool for sure. You can also see this environment as a black and white line drawing. And we can also go over here to the full spectrum button over for 2D view to show the actual materials and finishes that you've applied to your flooring and or any of the materials that have been signed or changed or modified to any of the objects that you placed inside your model. So we're taking this as a 2D view. Of course, you're always building a 3D model. So taking a look at what we've built here, I can go to the upper right-hand corner and go to the 3D view up here. 3D has a couple different ways of viewing the 3D model. It's important to use them for the specific reasons. Up here, you have 2 tabs. This first one over here looks kind of like a atom bird's nest. It is an orbit. It is your dollhouse view to get the aerial shot of your view. So if you select that tab, you're actually looking straight above and down in perspective into the view. It's not a 2-dimensional plan. It's actually a perspective view. Always remember that you have your zoom extents button over here on the left-hand side if you're ever trying to center your project on your screen. You can then, of course, use your mouse and twirl around the space to study anything in this orbit view. I keep emphasizing the orbit view because some people try to force the orbit view to be the perspective view. Do not do this. There's another reason for that, because right now, as you can see with the orbit view, you do not get any background materials inside here, like the views outside your windows. Oh, how did I lose my views? Yeah, that's not intended to be there. It's all supposed to be your white background out there. If you want to actually see more clearly, you do have a feature in your 3D settings tab over here, which is called cutaway walls. If you turn on cutaway walls, it'll actually turn off the walls, your exterior walls between your camera view and the target point that you're looking at. So these are different studies that you can do for sure. Let's go ahead and turn that cutaway walls feature back off in the settings tab. And let's go to the little walking man up here. If you want to get those proper views from the interior, including the imagery of the views outside your windows, which you can't see in the orbit feature, go ahead and select this little walking man up here, and it'll take you to first person, and you're actually inside the room. Yeah, and you're kind of eye level or whatever eye level you want your camera view to be at. Um, you're in control. There's simple controls to navigate inside this first person environment. We can go ahead and create new camera views inside the space. We can hit the camera plus sign up here to create a brand new camera. And then you also have all this tab information over here on the left-hand side to work with the dedicated camera view that you created, which we can also in the orbit feature. When you're actually out there in your dollhouse view, you can also make multiple dollhouse views accordingly. So you can start structuring multiple camera views inside here. Taking a peek just real quick, I'm going to hit a camera plus sign up here just so I don't distort, because I've already made some predetermined camera views in here for my usage. But I'm going to hit the camera plus sign up here just to make a brand new camera before we even move anything. So hit the camera plus sign up there, and says and tells you with the green bar up there, the camera 2 has been added, and camera 2 is noted over here on the left hand side. So right now we are in fact inside camera 2. So let's look around and just use my mouse and see what we built inside here. Yes, we have kitchens and kitchen components out there. I did a little bit more elaborate work. I put some skirting and baseboards around here, a little extra trim, a little flooring material out there, built our balcony. So it's a pretty complete model. Again, this totally, with all the furnishings, all is about 4 hours worth of work to make everything come together. Build it once and make multiple designs of that project and do multiple configurations. So get your structure out of the way first, as we did here currently. So if we want to start considering how do I want to maybe want to capture a view of this particular room, maybe we should just take a second and maybe just address the 2D view for a second. Then we'll hop back to this 3D camera view. It's already been saved. We're updating the camera. And we'll hop back to that camera too in just a second. But let's go back to 2D for a second. So maybe you needed this document as a two-dimensional measurable plan. I already told you that, of course, you have the black and white little cookie up here. That's your plan view. The blue on blue is the room type color blocked scenario, or the full spectrum over there, etc. So maybe I want to send it out of the black and white line drawing. And I want to make this into a document. So I want to make this into a document. You're just going to hit the export button, the big orange button in the upper right hand corner, and say, I'm going to export this. Okay, so how am I going to export this? As an SD level project, not an SD Lite, you gain an additional benefit. And this is my preference for two-dimensional images to be sent out, is to certainly send them out as PDFs. JPEG creation is viable, and if you elevate your project to an HD level, yes, you can send out a higher resolution, but there's features that are available as a PDF that are very valuable. So again, SD level or higher projects, PDF is one of your options. So for two-dimensional floor plans, furniture floor plans, I recommend going for the PDF because it does have that pixel count that's higher, and there's options. Let's talk about the options. So we're going to go 2D PDF, not a JPEG, PDF. As a PDF, you can change the orientation of the page, go from landscape or portrait. Obviously, the way we're oriented right now, I think we're going to go for the portrait. Great. which will fit better on the page. You can change the sheet size as a PDF, the layout sheet size. You can change it from a letter size, 8.5 by 11, a ledger size, 11 by 17, architectural C size sheet, which is a plotter size, as an 18-inch by 24-inch plotter size sheet, or even bigger, an architectural D size sheet, 24-inch by 36-inch, which is again, architectural D for plotter sizes. So this particular document is pretty long, so I'm going to go for ledger size on this. You can choose scale to fit. Now, those of you that are working with your basic level free account and doing your SD lights, you're doing JPEGs 8.5 by 11 scale to fit. That's your option. That's in your resolutions much lighter. As this PDF option for SDs are higher, you have the ability not only to change the sheet size and orientation, but you can actually print it to a measurable scale. Mine is set for imperial feet and inches. So we're going to talk a little bit more USA sort of thing here. We're going to talk about what scale. We can send this out as something really teeny, 16th inch equals a foot. We can take it out as an 1/8 inch equals a foot to scale. 1/4 inch equals a foot is available, which is our interior design favorite standard here in the United States, or something even bigger if you want to send it out as 1/2 inch equals a foot. We'll go for 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch scale. I know it's going to fit on a ledger size sheet, just barely. We'll go for a ledger size sheet, 1/4 inch scale, portrait orientation, PDF. Good to go. Let's go ahead and hit the export PDF button. Little green bar comes up, says, hey, it's been sent out to the cloud. Remember, once it's gone to the cloud, you don't have to wait for it. You know, if you need to move on or continue working on the project, you can, or you just need to leave. You need to get a cup of coffee. You need to meet with your client. You need to close out of the computer for some reason. You can walk away. Doesn't matter, because when you get back into your Floor Planner account, it'll be completed and it'll be waiting for you as a finished production, either in your exports tab back on your home page dashboard where all of your exports are stored, or when you're actually in the project. That's just a notification that the project is done, the render's done, and that will disappear all by itself. But over here on the left-hand side, when you're actually in the project, you can go down to the Exports tab down here in the lower left-hand corner. So this will actually open up any of the renderings that you created just for this specific project, where you can view them. You can go ahead and download a copy of it from the cloud to the device you're working on, or actually say it's a really bad image and I never want to see it again. You can delete the image accordingly. Again, technically this should be sliding away. I'll just close it up right now. I don't need to be notified that the PDF is finished. So if you want to see that document, we just go ahead and double click on it, and mine's going to open up as a PDF in Adobe. And you can see I'm just scrolling down this particular image, and this will print out for me as a 1/4 inch scale document. One last thing I should have mentioned, I do apologize, is that you do have the ability with that export image for the 2-dimensional PDF. There was one extra button. We were doing that 1/4 inch, 2D, PDF, portrait, ledger size. You can put a scale bar on there too. You can put an architectural scale bar. So if you turn on the little toggle switch down here, this is kind of nice to get an architectural scale block on the document, because when you download it to your device and then send it to your printer, to make sure that your printer is calibrated correctly and your device is in sync with it, when it comes out of the printer, you can take a physical measurable scale to that scale bar and just confirm that everything is truly 1/4 inch. So just hit export again, and it goes out again. Remember, there's no additional expense to how many renderings you're creating. So yeah, not a problem. Make as many as you care to for the project that you've created. Again, we're still just working with an SD level project. Now let's go back and visit that 3D image. So back to 3D, and we're still sitting there at camera 2. If you want to find that camera 2 again, the pull down menu up here will go ahead and show you all the camera views that you have created and what tab you've actually selected, if it's first person inside or if it's actually the orbit tab out there for you to take a peek at. But we're going to stay at the camera. Oh, the other rendering's done. Thank you. Okay, so 2D. So when 2D is selected, that's your camera 2 is selected, you'll see the tab over here on the left-hand side telling you all about that particular camera. First thing I like to do, and I don't do it as often as I should, but you have an edit pencil up here. go ahead and rename the camera view. Once you have 20 cameras or so, you may not remember which one's which. I certainly don't. So hit that edit pencil up there, and maybe we're going to call this BV living room. LR, just for the sake of it. Okay, so I'm just renaming it something. You just hit your enter button to accept the rename of it, and we're done. So I can use my mouse to reposition what I'm looking at inside this room for my camera view. I can also use my arrow keys on my keyboard to arrow back, arrow forward, arrow right, arrow left, to go ahead and set my camera view accordingly. Now, once it's there, I also have the tab over here on the left-hand side with all these additional tools that I can set for this newly named camera view. And I'm in the camera view. It is first person. I'm not doing this as dollhouse. I'm actually truly first person. That's good, which is eye level. And you make the determination. Like I said, what is eye level for you? You know, for me, it's around 5 feet or so. There may be reasons that you might want to set your camera view puppy dog height, not because of the dog, but because of the dynamics of the image that you're creating. We're not going to do a photography class today, but take a look at the architectural magazines or any of the flyers that you get from publications that have been professionally photographed, because the creation, see how they photograph the room. Think about it. Maybe capturing the entire room is not the best shot. Capturing everything may not be the best thing. Maybe there's a specific chair, an arm, a detail that you really want to get close to and show the detail in the foreground and a little bit of the background. And let the rest of your mind fill in the rest of the information. Being creative to make a really beautiful image is not just capturing everything, but study from others. You know, take a peek and reference to other magazines and such, and you'll get a better feel for what I'm talking about. But for right now, we could change the camera height by just taking the camera over here and left click and just drag it up and down the bar. We could also change it numerically. So if I said my eye height probably around 5 feet, we'll go for 5 feet as my camera height. And then the triangle over here, this blue triangle, you can change at that 5-foot level. What am I looking at? Am I looking up as a target? Am I looking down as a target? And we start defining our space. So we're getting close to making this our image for our rendering. You also have a tab over here for field of view. Field of view is like with any camera, a wide angle lens. Great, like any camera, wide angle lens, fisheye lenses, they capture the whole room, but they also distort the whole room. So be very careful. You know, we can broaden this and make the field of view really, really wild. Yeah, it captures the whole room. It makes it like a bowling alley. It's also taking any of the furniture that you have in there and it's starting to splay out the legs on them. You want to keep everything clean, crisp, vertical, very, very clean. So too wide a field of view is not really good by my definition. I'd rather make more of a magazine quality image. So let's go ahead and take that field of view as small as possible. Notice that the camera pushes forward as your field of view gets smaller. And now we're not capturing the room at all. So the field of view is smaller. I got everything nice and linear. Yay. So if I want to capture more of the room now, the field of view is already down. Use your arrow keys on your keyboard to reposition your camera backwards. Be careful because all of a sudden you're going to start slamming into the wall behind you very, very fast. And you may not realize sometimes you might be inside the wall. So if you're ever doing a rendering and you're getting a full white image or a full black image, you're like, I can't see my image. You may very well be inside the wall. So just push your camera forward just a little bit. So we got a nice field of view. We got some kind of a good image here, not much in there, no furniture. You can update the camera. Although your project is being saved every 3 seconds as it makes changes on the project, the camera views do not. So it's very important. Once you've established what this camera is, you need to send that information to the cloud. So always hit update camera before you do any of your renderings. But we still have a little more we can do with this camera. We can go to not just the camera, but we can go to the light and scene of this camera. Okay, go to light and scene. Over at light and scene, oh, what nice fun variables inside here. We're still first person, yes. What time of day is it? The sunshine. How high is the sun in the sky? We've made it easier for you. So you choose it yourself. Is it sunrise, morning, midday, afternoon, sunset, evening, or night? Sunrise is going to have some warm hues in it, which is natural to your sunrise, and afternoon and sunset, sunset for sure, are going to have more of those warm hues also. I like to get the sun low in the sky so it actually comes through my window because I like to take advantage of the sun in my renderings, which there's a great benefit to that, adding the realism to your final image. So let's go for morning. So it's kind of low in the sky. Well, with the sun sort of low in the sky, you can discern as to what the weather condition is. So we can say, hey, it's morning, and we're going to say no clouds. Nice, bright, sunny day. Light clouds, nice puffy clouds out there for your image, or heavy clouds, tornadoes, and hurricanes. Kind of depressing. I will stay with light clouds. And the image outside your window can also be changed from our gallery. So if we go down to the background images, there's a library currently of 5 different scenes out there, and we can select from the gallery different scenes as to what are the images that we're going to see outside our windows, predetermined inside Floor Planner. There's also a white on white down at the bottom called Studio. If you don't want any image out there, you can do so. You also have the ability to generate a custom image. So you can upload your own actual view. So if you went to that property or had some reference to an image from that property, JPEG, PNG image of the actual shot, you can upload that and insert it as your custom image so you see the actual client's view outside the window. Very valuable. This gallery set of views that we are choosing from for right now, mountains, okay. Cool thing about this is the horizon line. The horizon line that's out there inside that image is actually following your eye level inside Floor Planner. That's nice. That's really nice because that's what makes it look so natural. As a fact of nature, no matter what floor of a building or how high you are, the horizon line of the view will actually always follow your eye level. It's very important. Floor Planner is doing this for you, so you'll get that better sense of realism. When you insert your own custom image, be aware of that same sort of science because you're going to have to adjust your camera view just a little bit to make sure you are lining up the horizon line because Floor Planner doesn't know in your image where your horizon line is. So just a little tidbit for when you're doing your own custom work, which we will do in a second also. But we'll stay with this view for right now. Hit your back button up here with the image from the gallery already being selected. One last tab down here on this particular tab is the radiance of the sun. How bright is the sun inside your image, this side of the glass? We know how low it is in the sky. We're going to change the direction on it also, but how bright is it? Like you do your renderings, and I get the comments all the time saying, Bob, my image rendered too bright, my image rendered too dark. It's very subjective. It's your own opinion on that. So you can tweak it. You can actually use this tab over here. I mean, I've got all white walls inside this room. So it's truly nature. It's very real that sunshine is going to bounce around and it's going to be extremely bright. So this radiance tab down here of exposure, we can make it super duper duper bright, or I'm going to take it down to like 25% or less, just knowing that this is going to be really, really bright. And the morning sun is coming through. It's not coming through as far as you would think because I have an overhang outside as it's architecture. Okay, so that being said, one last setting in there is this sundial down in the lower left-hand corner as to where's the sun coming from. So if you happen to know the sun path diagram of your property or your client's property, you're going to impress their client and say, wow, that's really super. You know where my sun's coming from. If you don't know where the sun's coming from, lie to them. To go ahead with a disclaimer, of course, I don't know where your sun's coming from. because use the sun, get that sun coming through the window, because the mix of the sunshine and the artificial lights, that lamps and lights that you're going to put inside there that you can turn on and off, and dimmer switches, you can set kind of the mood inside the room. But using the natural sun is absolutely part of the balance of making a really beautiful photorealistic image. So we got the sun and the direction down here, we got the exposure down on it. Remember, update the camera for sure. So also I say update the camera, been sent out, it's been updated. Okay, we're ready to render now. So we've named this BVLR. So we are going to render this image. Go up to the export image tab again, like we did for the 2D image, export image. And we're, 3D image, JPEG image. Okay, cool. Resolution, SD is okay. HD is much better. The time difference between an SD render and an HD render is minimal seconds. I always go for the HD because it's a much better image. So, but mine's locked right now because I only created an SD level project. So we could upgrade the project like I showed you at the beginning, selecting the project and actually upgrading its project level in advance of opening the project. But we can also, while we're doing the rendering, you can make the decision now. So I could say, hey, let's do the HD level out there and say, we're going to upgrade it from the SD. The HD explains to you everything that's going on. So we're going to say upgrade it. Goes out into the cloud. That project level has been upgraded. Done. So now I can do a rendering as an HD level project as I prefer. HD, JPEG, 3D, current angle. No, 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 no. Current angle is a point and shoot. You moved your camera, you rendered it. You moved your camera, you rendered it. It's current angle. We're making dedicated camera views with settings associated with specific camera views for reasons. My reason is certainly I want to go back to the exact same position and re-render it later. Maybe I want to change the lighting levels. Maybe I want to change the finish and materials. Maybe I want to change the furniture layout. But I had a really great image camera location. I would never know what it is if I didn't already save the camera view. But make sure you render the named camera view, not current angle. It looks like it, but take that pull down menu and find the dedicated camera view that you actually created. We called it BVLR. There it is, select it. It looks basically the same, but the settings, all those settings we just did are associated with that named camera view. And with that being finished as an HD level, 3D, initials, send it out, going out to the cloud. Again, don't have to wait for it. We can continue working inside our project. Let's talk for a second about the view outside the window. Again, this is all associated with this particular camera view. I want to go ahead and maybe do a custom view outside, a JPEG PNG that you already stood on the balcony, you took the shot, you uploaded it to your device, and we're ready to put it inside your project. Maybe you didn't have that and you actually got the view from some other source of information. Maybe it's a golf course community and you have a picture of a golf course and you want to put it inside there. This particular property, hopefully I can find the image. Mandarin Oriental, when they were doing their early pre-sales, they actually took the pictures for us and they said, this is what the views are going to be from your unit. So from their website, I actually hopefully still have it on my computer. Let's take a peek for it. We're going to go ahead and go to the actual camera view, the background image. And instead of the gallery image this time, we're going to go for custom. Go for custom on this particular one. We're going to say choose file. We're going to choose the file from our computer. This is on my desktop, and sure enough, Mandarin Oriental Residences, which I took from their website, put it on my computer. There's the actual view, and it's a JPEG image. I'll say open it. It's pretty big, so it might just take a second to go ahead and load. Take a moment to coffee for a second. Awesome. By luck, hey, it got in position pretty nicely, actually. I think you already get the sense of a real photograph can make a huge difference. The other ones are very nice in our gallery, but to be relatable to your client, certainly, this is really cool. Oh, this is the other rendering that's already been created. So that's done. Bye-bye. This particular image. So let's talk about those custom images for a second. Always remember to update your camera view. Well, that's great. This horizon line kind of falls into place, and I think I got lucky on this, but if I use my mouse and start navigating the room, you're going to notice that sure enough, if I push up or down, that horizon line's going a little crazy. I mean, I certainly don't want to think that's my image. And I don't want to think that's my image. You really want to get with that eye level. And I'm just using that with my mouse right now to purposely align that horizon line. So I know this is going to be a good image. I can still use my arrow keys in here also for repositioning, but always make sure that you update your camera, still the name that it was. And we're going to go ahead and export that same image and send it out as an HD level. Find that image again. There's the namesake down there and export it. So we've sent out another image to be rendered. So custom images or using our gallery, using the sunshine, the sun intensity in there, really, really the basics of standard inside here. Let's go ahead and hop out of this design and maybe take a look at some other option information that's out there. Because I want to show you how to do a tight room, like it's too small and you're trying to get a camera in there and you're trying to back up the camera and get the field of view just right. And you're like, it just can't happen. It's just not working very well. So let's go to the 2D image for a second of this particular project. And no furniture in here. These rooms are probably going to be fine when they're furnished for the camera views and all. But what about this powder room? Yeah, well, we've got some furniture in there. We've got the bathroom being done. Got a little toilet down there. You got a little towel thing down there. Well, great. We can put a camera view inside there. You know that that's going to be a problem. You can already anticipate that the field of view and wide angle lenses and all. It's going to be a challenge, especially if you've ever done this before. There's the image. We'll take a peek at these all when they're all done at the very end. Okay. So if I want to get a nice camera view inside there, let's talk about where are the cameras right now. I'm in a 2D view. We know we can go to 3D and find the camera views. You have the pull down menu inside there. Did you know you could see where the cameras are when you're actually in 2D? If you're in 2D and you go to the settings tab up here in your 2D view, you're going to see there's a tab in there for showing the cameras. In 2D, show cameras. Surprise. These are all the cameras that I've already created on this job. And I do not have a camera inside this bathroom yet. This is fun from the 2D view. I can actually select a camera and I see the camera and the preview image up here and wondering which one it is. You can obviously see the positioning so you have a sense of what it's doing. You can move this named camera view with the little blue dot in there and say, I want to move it over here. You can also take the little white dot on the very end of the field of view and go ahead and change what you're looking at of that specific camera. Hopefully we'll get some more information on these particular settings because right now it really doesn't tell you which camera view it is by name. But the changes you're making to that physical camera are actually being updated. So you're making these modifications. This is also a really neat thing to do when you're trying to find a camera. Maybe you have to go to the 3D view and you're like, did I name it right? Where is it? I don't know which one I'm looking for. You conceivably could say, I want this camera. I can see it in 2D. Just pick that camera, say, this is the one I want to go to, but I want to see it in 3D. Well, you picked it right now. You can see the preview image. And if it's the one that's selected, as it is, hit the 3D button. Hit the 3D button, and all of a sudden, ta-da, you go right to it. So instead of just the pull down menu up here to go to specific name camera views, you could do the same exercise from 2D, which is kind of fun. So that being said, why don't I just let's just build a brand new camera. I want to get a camera inside this powder room. We could take one of these cameras and drag it in there and rename it, or we could just go back to our 3D view. So let's say we're going to put a brand new camera and just put it inside that other room. So we'll hit the camera plus sign up here. There it is. Yes, camera 2 repeats itself because we already renamed camera 2. So camera 2 comes back to life again. Say, okay, now let's re-identify camera 2. But this camera 2, I'm going to go ahead and name this one PDR room, as in powder room, and hit enter. So I know that this is for the powder room. Well, this is the one that's identified right now. So I can use my arrow keys to go forward, arrow right, use my mouse to twirl around a little bit and start going backwards because the powder room is behind me, right? It's back here. There's my powder room over there on the right. Go through the door, arrow keys. Ah, there's the towels. Okay, cool. Use my mouse, twirl around inside the room, and yeah, it's a tight little room. Arrow key to the right, arrow key to the left, arrow forward, arrow back, mouse. Okay, doesn't tell me a whole lot about the room, does it? Didn't capture very much. Well, we can go field of view. We can make it really broad. Yeah, major bowling alley. Everything's all distorted and looking terrible. So if we get the field of view smaller, of course, it's pushing the camera forward. And if I all of a sudden say, well, let's keep that's better. It's better for the field of view. It's going to be much more accurate. And then use my arrow key to arrow back. I've just gone through the wall. Oopsie, now I'm outside of the room, so this is just not working very well for me. I'm gonna go ahead and update the camera for a second. My intention is to put the camera further back, but I can't because the wall's there. But if you go to 2D, and before I even talk about moving the wall, make a duplicate design. Make a duplicate design of this particular layout so that when any distortion you make to it does not corrupt your original design. So let's go to the Designs tab, the Project tab in the upper left-hand corner. We already have those 6 existing designs that we saw earlier, but let's go down there and say duplicate. Let's duplicate this design. Duplicate it. Structure, shell, copy. Okay, so it's a copy. Okay, so with the copy, let's go to edit details so I don't forget what it is and rename it. And we'll call it powder room camera and enter or hit the little save button up there. We'll do the same thing. So renamed it. So this a design. It is a copy and it's not linked to the original design. It's a copy of the original design. Well, there's my camera down there in my bathroom. And this wall is going to get in the way. So what do I want to do? I want to drag that wall, left click and drag it way out of the way. Because now we've just messed up the room, but it's just a copy. Well, with this copy, I'm also going to get rid of the baseboard because that baseboard right there is going to be irrelevant in my image. Get rid of it. And let's say, it's also going to be a very dark room because there's no window in here. If you've ever tried to render something that has no light, no sun, no artificial light, and it looks really, really bad, there's no window, there's no light source. It's real. It's trying desperately to render and there's nothing there. So yeah, let's put some light in here. One of my favorite light sources, there is a little light source in here with this particular mirror, but it's not enough for me. So we're going to go ahead and put in some recessed can lights in the ceiling. So if you go to your objects tab, which is of course where your furniture is and additional objects, accessories, lamps, also all of your plants, your unicorns, your T-Rexes, your dinosaurs. Yeah, they're actually in there. I'm going to do a search for a specific category in the lighting category. There's a company inside Floor Planner that I love their model pieces. It's called Absinthe. 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 Kind of fun. They're nice contemporary light fixtures out there. What I really love about them are their models, their model pieces. That you can change the sizes on them. And I like that. And there's one I like to use for my recessed can lights. It's called an Absinthe GABA, GABA. What I like about these is they're like pancake thin. There's no structure to them. You just apply them to the ceilings, change their diameters, make them old-fashioned recessed can lights or real contemporary hot spots, 2 inches in diameter, etc. These also work really great for like under counters and furniture, be creative. But for right now, we'll just put some lighting inside this room. So I'll take this Absinthe GABA, left click, drag and drop, and it positions itself. The cool thing is that when you drag something like lighting fixtures, typically they will, in their settings, find themselves at their proper location. So this item knows it's supposed to be attached to the ceiling and it placed itself at 10 feet at the ceiling height. Again, what I like about these is that we could change the diameters on them. I could make it more of an old-fashioned recessed can light, 6 inches by 6 inches. And we have a light source in our bathroom. And I'll go ahead and put another one in there just by selecting it and copying it and aligning it as 2 light sources in there to make for a better rendering. Of course, these lights and lamps that you put in the outside there, outside of the natural lighting, sunshine, you can select these lights and lamps and you can turn them off on the left-hand side. You can turn them on You also have a dimmer switch in here, or we can adjust its brightness as you care to. There's another tab over here. I'll bring it to your attention because you're going to find it anyway. I choose not to use it, but if you select this, you can change the color hue of the light and even colorize it if you want to. Warm colors or cool colors. I just like to stay with the default because mixing colors and lamps is kind of like if you buy bad light bulbs and you do warm and cool, it just makes for a nasty looking room. So we'll leave it as the default for right now and know that you can adjust those light levels accordingly if it's too bright after the rendering. So we've got a couple light sources in there, including the light that's inside the mirror. We've got the camera in place down here, which we know we're going to wind up moving this camera way back to try to capture more of the room. So let's go to the 3D view of this right now. Of course, I have it selected, so hit the 3D view. And already we're looking much better. Use my mouse to start navigating and use my arrow keys to move back. Now I'm not hitting the wall behind me anymore. Okay, so capture, now I got the toilet, I got the ceiling. You know, this will make a very good, true field of views, nice and small, a nice true rendering. And after it's rendered, then crop it accordingly if you need to get rid of the peripheral information inside there. But this makes for a much more realistic image. Remember to hit your update camera view for sure. And the ceiling height, oh, camera height's a little, it's a little high. So let's take that down too. Get rid of that, make it down to 5 feet more human scale. Cool. Look up a little bit. Nice. Go forward a little bit and update my camera view. And let's render it. Let's go to the upper right-hand corner, hit the export button, find that powder room as an HD level JPEG image. Find ourselves that powder room. Powder room. And say export. Ta-da. Okay, we're out in the cloud. I did it for a small powder room. Obviously, I think you see the value in this. When you're really trying to get this field of view small in a smaller room, yeah, make a duplicate of the design and stretch those walls out. Some people say, hey, Bob, why didn't you just delete the wall? If I delete the wall, I will lose my ceiling. I will lose my floor. I will also flood the room with natural sunlight. And you don't want to do any of that. Since we were just talking about the light settings in here, you know, we can select the individual lights and lamps inside here. There is also the ability to see all the lights and lamps in the given room at any time. If you go over to the Designs tab and the powder room design that we're in right now, there's a tab in there for light settings. Nice. If you go to the light settings tab, you will suddenly see all the lights and lamps that are assigned inside this room. I have a lot of them inside the kitchen also, where you can, in one master light panel, turn on and off individual artificial lights. There comes the preview. And you could also adjust these sliders to make them more in alignment if you're trying to get them all at the same light level. It's a great place to view every artificial light fixture that you have inside your model. Okay, so we're doing better and better and better with all these images. Now let's maybe exit out of this particular alternate design and take a peek at some others for some other purposes. There's our show cameras tab again. So let's go over to the project and go down to its multiple designs. We've done the structural shell. We've shown different views associated with camera views, done custom views out there. Certainly we could go ahead and start putting furnishings and furniture inside there like so. And of course, this view for furniture, we can go ahead and show this as the wireframe drawing. We can show this as the room type drawing, color blocking, and we can also show it as full spectrum, again, depending on what you want to render as a two-dimensional image. Notice that there's some stuff on the ceiling that's getting in my way. Yeah, I've done some architectural structure up here. We got these light fixtures going on. It's kind of busy, and all I'm trying to do is communicate my furniture plan. You can actually cut lower in plan sort of an elevation cut that you're hiding items above your head. It's a 2D settings, a 2D setting tab inside here. You go down to hide all above some given height. If you turn that tab on, we're actually cutting down from the ceiling height to make sure that there's all those lamps and ceiling light fixtures and the architecture that we put in your ceiling are not showing at this moment for this particular rendering, and then show it as a wireframe drawing or show it as color coded or show it with a full spectrum. So slicing through the room is really cool. A lot of people ask for this also, going, hey, can I do that in 3D? The 3D settings will actually cut down your wall perimeter wall heights will cut down in a 3D model, but it will not cut down below anything inside your room in 3D. I've been talking with the programmers about that recently, and they're trying to see if we can do a workaround for that coming up in the future. So keep your eyes open for, again, another change yet to be occurring inside Floor Planner. Let's go ahead and turn that off for right now, just so you know that that is available to you. And this is that same model again with different views with the camera views outside. So we could actually, let's take a look at what we built. And then not the powder room, let's go to the foyer. It's a populated room. Same model that we've been building, but we made a duplicate design and started actually putting furnishings inside of it. We can also, and I think really, really valuable, remember those 3D tours we talked about? Those 3D tours do work with the gallery views that Floor Planner has associated with the cameras, which is nice for your outside view for those 3D tour animations that you're working with. But they don't work with custom views. 3D tours do not work with custom views. So maybe something a little bit more controlling. I kind of created a workaround for that. So to demonstrate, right now, this was working with associated images to the camera for the view outside the window. If we go to another design in there, you're going to see that I built something that I call a theatrical flat. Much like in the theater, where you would take studs and metal wood and just go ahead and staple them together and go ahead and stretch them with canvas and paint the image and put it up into a theater on stage. I did the same thing, built a wall away from the structure and made it really big. And the cool thing with Inside Floor Planner is that you can upload your own custom images to wall surfaces. So this big wall that I placed out here, I actually put a custom image on. We talk about that in our advanced tools webinar, that you can upload your own materials. You can upload wallpapers, clients, artwork, anything you have a JPEG or PNG image of, you can apply to a wall surface as a custom image, not just from our library of materials in Floor Planner. If I select this particular wall down here, the front view of this wall, side one or side two, back side, front side, get the front view out there, I actually inserted that same image and placed it inside here. What's really cool about this is this works for 3D tours for the rendering. Yes, because it's like wallpaper. But you can also adjust the image, which you can't do when assigning an image to a camera view. You can put the horizon where it belongs. You can also maybe choose as to which building you're seeing outside your view. This comes in really handy for like New York City, big city life, cityscapes. Yeah, you have a lot of control on doing this. When you make that adjustment, just make sure you close your window here, and it actually will secure that information. And you can see that that view stays right in place, no matter looking up, down, left, right. I don't have the same difficulty that I had previously that I showed you. It stays right where it belongs. So depending on what you're trying to achieve, associating with the camera views, that's great. It's very fast. Are we better? Anybody? Anyway, thank you. Appreciate. Sorry, apologize about that. Okay, cool. So we're talking about adding this additional custom material out there. And again, this is going to go ahead and certainly work for us in our 3D tours, which I can show you an example of in just a moment. I also went ahead and made a multiple design out there because I wanted to show a two-dimensional plan of this as a dollhouse view. So I actually made a alternate design over here on the left-hand side, duplicated it, and I rotated it because I wanted to make sure that I captured the entire volume in here. So this image down here actually was rotating the entire project. So utilizing this multiple design element is really important. And when I rotated it, it was just a matter of using my shift key and my left mouse click to make a selection window. And you can identify what you're selecting up here in the upper left-hand corner: furniture, surfaces, walls, etc. And then you can go ahead and just use the rotate tab inside here to put it into a different orientation as you may care. Boom, boom, boom. Cool. And then just click again. Because I wanted to see that image accordingly. I'm going to go ahead and actually get to our finished images for a second. So I want to show you how these renderings actually came out. I'm going to hop out of this package for just a second, just to show you on a different project, such as here. I took some time earlier just to do this ahead of time. And if we go over to the exports tab on the left-hand side, there's that image I was just talking about, why I rotated it. And if we just go ahead and double click, we can actually take a peek at that particular image. This is your dollhouse view. It's not a measurable, scalable document. Also, remember I said in 3D, you can't cut down below the light fixtures. So making a duplicate design, I deleted those items. So like that's architectural structure that was above here in the living room and the chandeliers and such that were down there. Sure enough, I did go ahead and physically delete them. It was a copy, a duplicate, so I didn't corrupt the original. But you can see the beauty, certainly of an aerial shot. Clients really love these because they're impressed and they certainly understand them. They're very clearly defined and available for them to really peruse through and understand the space for sure. Some of these other renderings, just to give you a sense of the quality of these images, stunning. Those of you that are pro accounts and higher, enterprise accounts for sure, these standards have been set for you. You have your watermark on your documents, which is branding your documents for sure. If you're a pro account or higher and you don't know how to do that, please reach out to me, bob@floorplanner.com, and we'll certainly help you out, show you in your settings where you can go ahead and actually burn your logo in there for a template for all of your future images, which is always really pretty to brand your products. Some of these other images out here, dining room, like this shot. But the resolution on these and the pixel it's pretty intense. This is a really, really fabulous rendering engine for sure. I did go ahead and make a 3D tour on this project also. And let's go ahead and open up the 3D tour. Comes up with the cover page as we're going into the cloud, going into this modeling. And the cool thing, as it's real-time render, we can go ahead and just start clicking on the floor, or if we're doing this on our phone, we could use our finger and start navigating around inside the space and touring around. I did take the time to put some additional light fixtures inside the cabinets and put some of the plate and glassware that we have inside our library. But we can just start navigating around this room. There's our puppy dog going outside onto the balcony, turning around. Again, that's with that dedicated view that's assigned to a wall surface outside there. TVs. Hey, if you didn't notice this, how are we putting images on our TVs? You have a lot of TVs inside Floor Planner, wall mounted, etc. And those objects you place on the wall. But they have no images on there. If you make a wall, like I did outside, very thin, and in its settings of that wall, raise it from the floor a certain height, make it the same length as the TV is, and the height, set that wall height to be the height of that wall. Adding custom images to a TV is just a very thin wall actually floating just in front, and you can make any image on these particular TVs, which is really valuable because obviously we seem to psychologically migrate to devices, TVs, monitors, etc., and they set the mood for any given room for sure. The mirrors are also reflecting in there, which is really nice and sweet as we move around. And again, that's just an example of your 3D tour. Hey, we've got still in my calendar here anyway, about another 10 minutes left. If there's anything you might want me to elaborate on, I appreciate those of you that have been able to stay with me. If you want to type in a message in the chat, I will keep my eyes open for that and see if there's any additional questions I can answer for today. Anybody? I can't go on the assumption that I covered everything. Must have missed something. Okay, I'm just stalling for time. While you might still be dropping a question in there, I will show you. Thank you, appreciate it. I'm going to show you just where that TV image was, just real quick. In plan, there is the TV, of course, and you can see there is no image on that TV. Just pulled that in from our library. But the wall is very, very close to the TV. It's floating. It's not touching the structure. Very important that it's not touching the structure because our automated ceilings would get a bit confused. So if I want to see where that is, remember we talked about cutting lower, hiding all above. If we go to the 2D settings tab, go down to the hide all above and just cut down a little bit. There is the wall, that little segment of wall that was built. Left click on it, you'll see there is the wall. I can stretch out the points. Obviously, I was trying to match them up to the TV's dimensions. And its settings of that little strip of wall, I made the wall very thin. I made it 1 inch thick. I gave it the height. The wall height is the height of the TV, just a little shy of it. And raised from floor is the bottom of the wall, lifted up, which is basically the bottom of the TV. So putting into position, sometimes a little bit tricky, but some adjustments you have to make accordingly. We can go ahead, select that wall and say, is it side one or side two? Side one is typically inside and side two is typically the back side or outside. Side one is the side I wanted to put the material on, and I would just go for its front view. If I go for its front view, this is the image that's associated with it. Notice that you can also see on the front view of this wall, there's the TV. And it's like a ghosted image. You actually see the TV out there. If you hit the little tab at the bottom, it says move wall mounted items, which the TV is a wall mounted item. You can go ahead and turn that tab on and you can physically move that TV if you care to and adjacencies to that wall, but we'll just leave it as such. And the image that we placed on there, if I hit the remove image, you'll see that you're looking at my library. This is would be your library of the custom images that you've already uploaded. So if you choose files, JPEGs, PNGs for custom images, I've done wallpapers, artwork, and assorted other reasons. And I want to go ahead and put an image on that particular TV. Maybe it's sort of a mood swing. Like I said, these devices on our walls are certainly set the feeling for the room, a little psychology out there, and say maybe the image on that wall needs to be France. Let's go to Paris. You can pick an image, and by selecting it, it actually assigns it to the wall surface. Right now, we're using that wall surface as a TV. Remember, you can, of course, go ahead and choose to stretch that, and the free scaling, we could change its size and proportion on that wall. Right now, I'm just going to let it fill the entire wall. And once it's there, we can close the window to accept it. And then with that being closed, go back into 3D and go into camera view inside, something maybe around the living room. And the final view, where are you? Position. And it's not even a rendering. This is a preview image of what that room is going to be. But I think you kind of get the sense that even putting images on TVs can certainly give you a feel for that space also. Hey, I don't see any questions popping up. I really do appreciate you all taking the time with me. So we're gonna close out at this point. Know that these webinars do continue. We'll continue to keep sharing new advancements and information. The 2024 roadmap of additional new tools and features for 2024 for Floor Planner are awesome. So keep your eyes open. I will keep sharing with you all of those new advances as they come available. But I think you're going to be quite excited in the coming year. Certainly the additional presentation levels that are being offered with that presentation tab that I showed you at the very beginning. Otherwise, I again appreciate your time. Let's take a peek at that PowerPoint presentation just on our way out. And yeah, kind of the message inside Floor Planner. It's kind of our theme, mission statement since 2007, when we started making space planning and interior design accessible to everybody. What we want. We want to keep the platform simple. We want to keep it user-friendly from your perspective. We're not putting in 500 and 800 filters that you're confused with and things you have to learn like you do with other softwares. Yet, Floor Planner is making a lot of advancements. And as we get new tech, we are implementing them inside Floor Planner with a simple toggle switch or a simple little control in there. Nothing too complicated. The magic, the beauty, this intensity is really happening behind the scenes. It's happening with the programmers over in the Netherlands, giving you these really gorgeous final result images. So we're going to continue with this to keep, even with the implementation of new features that we're going to give you and new tools. Definitely, our mission is to keep it simple. And you will always have me talking a lot of verbiage out there to educate you and get you comfortable with that platform. But once I've said my words and you start playing with it, I think you'll understand it is extremely intuitive at that point. So I hope you enjoyed your 2D, 3D export settings webinar. Appreciate you all being here again. And if you have any questions, drop me an email at bob@floorplanner.com. I do typically support pro account subscriptions up through enterprise. If you happen to be a basic or plus account with Floor Planner, feel free to keep coming back for the live webinars. And there's registrations. Go ahead and actually type in your questions and such, because I do review those before each session, so I can kind of guide and customize our presentations accordingly. Again, and don't forget that we, of course, have our recordings of these videos out there on the Floor Planner channel at YouTube that you can go to floorplanner.com, go to the support tab, and you have access to tons of additional support and training information. So again, until the next time, appreciate you being with me today, and I'll catch you next time.